Hello, everyone. This is Raovake Gaming, coming from Exodus Games team, community manager here. I also have AstroLamb, our lead Graph Dev, with me today. We're gonna run through stuff, the new stuff for the gate system overhaul, the mostly the part one, since we're going to turn it into a two-part set of updates. Okay, so AstroLamp, go ahead and introduce yourself and start running us through a little.
Hi everyone, I'm AstroLamb. I've been with Exodus Games for about 6 months now, I think. It's been quite an interesting project. Stargate's been a big thing in my life for as long as I can remember, pretty much. So I'm pretty excited to be part of this team. So I think let's just start with just talking a little bit about the gate overhaul in general. It has kind of been the main focus of my efforts since I started here. There's a good bit going on to this. We have added in the Milky Way gates, obviously. So you see, got the Milky Way gates over here and Pegasus gates over here, as well as the associated DHDs. Now, just a caveat here: there is a lot of stuff still work in progress. None of this is really complete, but we're making good strides. Yeah. I suppose I will just go ahead and start showcasing what's working so far. So one of the big things that has happened here is a sort of unification of all of the gate systems. It used to be that the Pegasus gates specifically referred to other Pegasus gates, and when trying to communicate with other gates, it required a lot of really complex, ugly, just nasty code. So all of the gate systems now share a base class, which is kind of like a blueprint. That did require a bit of rework of the Pegasus gates as well. So I think I've got it pretty well down to what it was before. There might be some minor differences here and there. So let's just look at the UI here first. There are some changes here. You'll notice, first of all, these are all yellow. So what's up with that? So I've added a bit where, depending on what relationship you have with the faction that owns that gate, it will show an applicable color. So if it's green, it's your own tribe or an allied tribe. If it's yellow, it's someone could be a public gate. Public gates are yellow, or a non-allied tribe that you're also not at war with, so potentially hostile, but not necessarily. And then if you're actually at war with the tribe, it'll be red. You'll notice that this still changes correctly, although I did toggle it to default to the English. You'll notice here it's a colon followed by whatever right now. So that is a system. It works better in the actual game, but it'll have like the gate name and the owning tribe. So that's what default tribe, and these are basically just filler kind of things. But for kicks, let's just go ahead and dial a random gate. Let's go with one of the public ones because I have been working with them. You'll notice the buttons now are clicked in sequence, which is kind of a fun thing that I added. Right. So I believe that was on fast dial. So you may have noticed there's a fairly quick thing. Looks like it connected to that gateway over there. We're not going to go through because that's a long ways to run back. Let's move on here. So this is not a public gate. And we'll just pick, let's go with that one. Again, it's doing things. All right. So now we got the normal rotating the lights and all that. Let's see, what can we talk about while we wait for this to dial?
So you were telling me that we've got a lot more other features that are coming in the first update. What are some of those that everybody can look forward to?
Right, so there's a few big ones. One of those is instead of ZPMs being placed inside the inventory slot on a gate, that won't work anymore. Now you'll have to use a control crystal in the DHD. And apparently I have a bug to work out there. Interesting.
Is it not showing up for you in there?
No, it's just not dialing. I wonder if I accidentally dialed the same gate or something silly like that.
Probably.
Anyway, moving on. What was I saying? Oh yes. So let me just
About the control crystal.
Yeah. Let me just grab a few of those and grab a DHD. Inventories don't work with pre-placed items. So we're just going to throw another DHD down here. The DHDs connect to the nearest gate. All right, and then this is some testing. Don't worry about that. Trophy slot. All right. So the control crystals will be used similarly to the ZPMs. Wow, I'm a little tired at this point today. It's after my bedtime. And you'll notice right now it's at half durability. That's for testing purposes. For testing, as soon as you put it in there, it uses up half its durability. Again, just for testing purposes. And if I throw that back in there, oh, it's broke because half durability. But that's not something you quite need to worry about yet. So this is another fast style gate. So let's go ahead and just throw that down and watch it do its fast style thing here. And in the meantime, I suppose we can have this sucker dial a slow dial way.
So
Now,
I don't
the
know
Milky
if
Way
your
animation.
screen just freaked out, but mine just freaked out a little.
Oh, mine didn't. Is it good now?
Yeah, it's good now. I don't know what was going on. It just, all of Discord just went gray.
Interesting.
It's been flashing
Huh.
off and on.
Alright, I've got an interesting bug where gates won't actually dial. Why is that? Well, in the meantime, we'll continue talking about other things and watching the Milky Way animation. There are a couple of issues with it, which I'm planning on fixing in the second part of the overhaul. Let's see here. So I talked about the control crystals replacing the ZPMs. It's a pretty big one. Talked a little bit about the changes to the UI. I suppose I can show real quick if I throw down a gate.
Let's see what the changes are with the UI.
Yep, I'm going to show that real quick here. Let me throw myself another DHD quick. Alright, so let's name this hello there. And then if I come over to another DHD, all right, so I've got an issue there. But you'll notice that it is not yellow. It should be green, so I'll have to check what that bug is. Let's close that gate and try dialing here. Yeah, so the different gates will have different colors based on whether you're allied, not allied, or actively opposed, as in at war. Let's see here. I added a config setting, which I think is pretty cool. Actually, I did a lot of config settings, but this one in particular involves the end glyphs. Now, there's actually several config settings. This one in particular allows you to set a desired end glyph for any map. And again, there's some timing issues there that need sorted out yet. Woohoo, it works. Oh yeah, there's the thing. I think I said it's that you can only like go through
Every few seconds or so, it seems like a 5-second timer.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what the number is. But yeah, so with this new config setting, you can say, if you want the island to have to use the @ symbol, or if you want Ragnarok to use Q, or whatever you call that with the symbols. You can do that, and that will also work for modded maps, so long as you use the exact name. So like Valguero is Valguero_P, for example. So that allows a lot of flexibility if you want to have a different end glyph. And the other thing you'll notice is this gate address. Now that's only a 6 glyph address there. And that's because that is the address that you're going to put in, and then you're going to append the end glyph from whichever gate you're dialing from. So really these 6 are the only ones that are actually applicable to this gate. So that's why I did that, which is different from how it currently is. That currently uses 7 glyphs.
You want to elaborate that a little bit, because even I was a little confused on what that meant.
Right. So the end glyph, the home glyph, or whatever you want to call it, the origin point, is an attribute of the gate, but it is not something that any other gate needs to know about. So if I want to dial this gate from over here, I would be typing in M whatever, but then it'd be typing in this gate's end glyph. And that at the moment is dependent upon whatever map you're on. It's going to be A as the default.
Okay, so if you manually dial the gate, let's do an example of a manual dial.
Yeah, you got a pen and paper handy?
No, but I got a phone.
I do. I got a pen. All right, so Mike, X-Ray, Romeo, Oscar, Foxtrot, Yankee. And I'm assuming that's an O and not a 0.
Yeah, it looks like they look the same,
Guess
actually.
we'll find they really do, yeah.
Might be something we might have to...
Well, let's see. So that's that symbol. This symbol is there, so that's an O.
That's one way to know.
Yep. Look at the glyphs, right? So yeah, so here you would type in Mike, X-Ray, Romeo, Oscar, Foxtrot, Yankee Alpha. So yeah, the only like if I'm searching for a gate from like, how do I say this? Basically, there is a database of all the gates available in the world, and from this, this is the address that is looked for. Like the first 6 glyphs are the only ones that really matter for the actual dialing. The only reason the 7th one matters is if you're dialing from the if you're using the right origin point, and if you're not, then it fails. Does that make sense? I'm sorry, I'm probably
Yeah,
explaining
hold
that
on. I
poorly.
actually need to check what's going on with this screen and if it's actually being picked up in the recording. Okay.
Alright, Mike, X-Ray, Romeo, Oscar, Foxtrot, Yankee, Alpha.
So
Dial.
you have to click the ending glyph for a manual dial.
Yes, and if you press the button, it will dial the origin glyph as well.
So if you click it by the name, it'll dial with the origin as well. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
That way we have that distinction on that.
Yep. And you'll notice how these are lit up if they've been selected. They will light up, and the end glyph will also be lit up, even if you come back to it.
Okay. With the Discord thing, I think we're just gonna need to take things a little slower. That way, if things are
Alrighty.
brought up visually, there's a longer period for that to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's. Is there any other structures or items that are in part 1 or 2 for the Gate Overhaul?
Let's see. We do have the ZPM interface, which is not ready yet. Hopefully, maybe we'll be ready for part 2, but no guarantees on that. This is the model when it has a ZPM in it, obviously. There's a separate one for when it is emptied.
So I know it's not ready yet, but what kind of what will its purpose be?
It'll be similar to the Lantian ZPM hub, but with only one ZPM. We've had discussions about how to utilize it potentially for the gate system and such, in supplement to the control crystals, kind of like how the people of Earth were able to incorporate a ZPM into their gate system.
Okay, sounds like that's got some possibilities that could be used.
Yep.
Look like you got other bugs in the dev kit with the lights for
Yep,
Pegasus
there's
Gate.
always bugs. Always bugs. It's, huh.
Okay.
Yep, lots of little stuff that needs to be sorted at some point. um, let's see, I think this is a fast dial gate, right?
If I remember
Let's,
correctly, yes.
let's just throw that to there. Something I want to note is you'll notice that these gates were opened a while ago now, and they're still open. If I go through, there is a config setting now, which allows you to set how long it after the someone goes through the gate before it shuts down. Similarly, there is a config setting for how long it will shut down if no one goes through.
Do these config settings have any sort of parameters?
They are
Like, for
just
example, 38 minutes is the maximum that you can set?
yep. I don't remember what the default is off the top of my head here. I can probably check that. But let's see if I can find. So this max time gate is active, so that's basically the 38 minutes. Default for that right now is, let's see, 38 minutes, yeah.
I was gonna say, it looks like it says 38 to me. Okay,
Yep, I just had to
so
check the tooltip there. It does say in minutes.
do you have an idea of maybe having it set up where where there can be an option to have the gate not shut down after a certain amount of time for, or at least up until 38 minutes for when somebody does pass through it?
That is a good question. Let me go through all of my current settings here. So it looks like I don't have that implemented yet, but honestly, that's not a terribly difficult one to add. But yeah, that's certainly something I could add. I should throw that in my list here.
Because that's something like, what if somebody's got a convoy of resources of half a dozen creatures or players or whatever, and they're going in one after the other, one after the other. Just sounds like something that the community would enjoy having.
So the timer, when it shuts down after someone goes through it, it resets every time someone goes through it.
Okay.
So if if there's a whole convoy coming through, it won't be until the last person or creature, assuming they're within the set shutdown time, um, they'll all be able to get through.
Okay. So
But yeah, I mean, you can certainly set it to be a really long time.
it's already sort of set up, and that's good to know. That's good to know
Yep.
because when I would play, I would go out with like 6 creatures just to hold everything because I would gather all kinds of stuff. And having a convoy that can easily go instead of having to, for example, use awesome teleporters and do it one by one every time, is definitely something to look forward to, in my opinion. What
Yeah, for sure.
other config settings can we look forward to in part 1 of the gate system overhaul?
Yeah, so there's a few that I've got in here already. So we've got a setting to allow the wormhole splash, um, the big blue thing that pops out and kills people, if that should actually kill
The unstable event
players or
horizon.
creatures. Yes.
Does that also damage or destroy buildings inside the splash zone?
It is planned to do so, yes.
Okay.
I have not implemented that code yet.
Okay. Do you think that'll be part 2 or part 1?
That's probably going to be part 2.
Okay, that way we have, we know that's coming, but it'll be a little further out.
Yep. There's a bunch of end glyph settings. So the one that I was talking about in particular,
it's all over the place there.
the one in particular is this set end glyph for maps. And so what that basically does is it takes the name of the map and sees if there is a sees if that string is in is there basically, and then checks for what the associated glyph would be.
Like,
And if
for
that's the case,
example, if if you have, for example, the island set for A and Ragnarok or something set for B, for example, that will automatically set them and change them for those maps.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, or Valguero, or Crystal Isles, or like I say, any modded map too.
Okay, so it'll
So it's
pick
a
up
wide range of
new and
customization.
change. It'll change them. That's good.
Let's see. So there's also some like force use of A basically. Because there's some people who always want to use the A symbol, so that's fine.
No place like home.
I will note that the A symbol is the default, so you don't this doesn't need to be set. But just in case it's there.
Okay.
There's also another one here where this is a 2 combo. So this force use specified end glyph, if that is true, it will use whatever end glyph is. And that is overridden by these others. So if you have all 4 of these set, it's going to be
One confusing mess.
Yeah.
Okay. So you really only need 1 or 2 at most.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, so it's kind of like in order of priority here, least priority to highest priority is basically how that follows. So if you're specifying a particular endglyph, that'll be applicable on all maps regardless. But then this will override that, and then this force use at symbol will override that. We also have a bunch of energy setting configs that I've added. So some of these I think were already there. So I think maximum energy was already there and maximum energy distance. But I've added a passive energy regen and a setting for how much, when you first place a gate, how much energy it holds in it. So that's something that you can customize depending on your desired level of difficulty and or realism, if you can call a sci-fi themed thing realism.
Yeah. So then somebody could make their gate have 1,000 energy in it, or 20.
Yeah.
Okay. The passive energy regen is what's going to be interesting to a lot of our community members, is what I would say, because you could make it regen like a snail, or you could make it as like a speeding bullet. You got a full 1,000 in 5 seconds. You got 1 in 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Just a arbitrary quick example on that, I would guess.
So this is energy gained per second.
Okay.
Currently it's set at 0.1. So every 10 seconds you'll gain 1 energy. So that's pretty slow. At the same time, the intent with gates is to have control crystals and ZPMs. And the passive energy regen is kind of a slight bonus kind of thing, but it's not
Kind of little
not a common
extra.
thing, Yeah.
The icing on the cake.
As it were, I suppose. There's also a couple of yes, and actually I can probably show you guys the irises in a second here, at least if they're working still. So now the Atlantis gate, I'll start with this one, is an energy shield, and the energy shield, in my mind at least, should use energy. I think the default is false. Yep. But if you want to set it so that the gate uses energy, it will pull energy from the control crystal or ZPM as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
this
you can match it closer to how Atlantis did it and closer to canon, since, Energy Shield needs, energy. So
mm,
that way it also makes it would have the community members on the servers that choose to use that have to be a little smarter with their energy uses.
yeah, and maybe even like choosing to use a different gate because of that. Um,
Speaking of using a different gate, do we plan to lock irises to specific gates, or is that something that we voted out?
I think we decided to not make them specific.
Did we want to have that as a configuration setting in the future for server admins?
That is a possibility. Let me check here. It's nothing in there.
Because that's something that I would put in the hands of server admins instead of mod devs or whatnot.
I will have to look into the difficulty of making that a. That's not what I wanted to open. Um, of making that a setting. I don't think it'd be terribly difficult, but there's always a chance.
Always a chance that it could be a supplemental update in the future.
Yep. Hmm. Where is that code? Suppose it's not terribly important at the moment, though. Switch iris. Maybe it's this one.
So is there going to
Yes.
be any changes with the iris and how it kills?
Right. So, um, obviously, one of the purposes of an iris is if you go through a gate and the gate you would exit from has a iris on it, then you can't rematerialize and you die and everything with you is dematerialized. Um, so I think currently it does kill you if the iris is closed.
Yes, it does currently kill you, and you do currently lose all the stuff you had on you.
Hmm. I don't think we decided on any major changes to that.
Yeah, I didn't remember any either. Um,
We did, I think, talk about maybe a config setting or something for what happens to your stuff, but that's a bit more of a complex thing.
okay. Now we talked about splash kill. And I know I put up a poll of it in our Discord server, and it looked like everybody wanted the other kill events as well for gates, but they wanted them with an config setting toggle. So going through the
Mhm.
back, going through the wrong way. Are those planned or currently implemented?
They are planned. I have some of the logic implemented, but not the kill logic itself.
Okay. Okay, now that way we've got a little bit of a basis on where that stands. So we've got a little bit of that. Okay.
Hmm.
Anything extra that we may not have covered. Any changes? Anything new?
I think I've covered most of it at this point. I do want to show the iris quick here if it works. I'll grab one of each kind. Pretty sure they're both gonna work fine. So if I just throw it on a gate over here, and oh my goodness, wrong button all the time. Throw down DHD. Alright, let's see if it works. So I think there's a bit of a timing issue there, but oh, it's not actually doing the animation. Looks cool though, doesn't it?
Yes, it does look cool. Currently in the live build, it does still do the animation. I did just recently get to test and see that again.
I'm gonna try something real quick here. 6 Yankee 3 Zulu ST. I'm not sure if the wormhole event horizon comes through. Let's see which one was fast dial. I think this one was. Oh yeah, so it does. I need to remember to disable that.
Is that a dev kit aspect?
Yes.
Okay, because currently in the live build, it doesn't do that.
It doesn't show the animation.
It doesn't. It doesn't show it going through it.
Yep, like I say, there's a lot of little stuff that I haven't fixed yet. I've got a lot of the big stuff done, but there's a lot of little stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Like being able to walk right through the iris. That shouldn't happen.
Especially even just from the front side, let alone the back side.
Yeah, right?
And completely showing the wrong iris.
Yeah.
It's like the gate itself just glitched.
Well, iris code isn't a bit that I've put tons and tons of effort onto yet.
Not really worked on it or finished it yet.
I mean, none of it's finished.
Good point. We're doing this as a early showcase of basically alpha and beta of the Gate Overhaul and giving a little bit of a preview. Okay, yep. So I think we've covered everything for part 1, haven't we?
I think so.
So I think
if there's anything else here.
Yeah, I'm wondering that too. I don't think there is anything for part 1. But I know the community would like to know a little bit about what might be or what is in part 2 of the Gate Overhaul. I know most of this is not going to have any kind of visual. It's mostly just going to be verbal information. So we're not going to have to worry too much about the weird Discord screen thing glitching out or anything like that right now. But what are some of the other changes or additions that we might see coming in part 2 for the Gate Overhaul?
Alright, so the big things, there's some more config settings that I want to add.
Do you have a general number of them? Not necessarily what they are, unless there's big ones to share.
Let's see. I have 5 confirmed that I'm gonna add, and probably a couple of others that aren't implemented yet, but are on my list for part 1.
So I would say what, 5 to 10-ish, probably 5 to 8.
Yeah, and of course
What
there
do
may be
you,
things that I just haven't thought of yet.
yeah, what do you think is going to be the 3 biggest, most anticipated ones that the community is going to look forward to?
For part 2.
Yeah, for part 2.
So for part 2, I've got it planned to add the splash kill logic and the kill logic for going in if you go the wrong way through a gate. I think a lot of people will really appreciate that, even if they won't like dying to it. I'm also working on some more flexibility for the gate permissions. So currently, there's a certain like there's certain settings for who's able to do stuff with the gates. So for example, this is a public gate, I think. Pretty sure this is one of the public ones. And like some of this stuff isn't available. Now there's a lot of ways that you could configure a gate. For example, you could set it to be accessible only to a certain player, like the owner. You could set it to be accessible to just your tribe. You could set it to be your tribe and allied tribes, or to anyone. So there's a lot of options there, and that's going to require basically another UI to handle all of that. I think is the best way to do that. I thought about doing it through the multi-use thing, but honestly,
Nobody really likes
I
you
feel like
doing
this
the
is a bit
multi-use.
more friendly. Yeah.
So we've got a whole overwork, a whole redo of gate permissions that are going to be coming for part 2 or afterward. That
Mhm.
sounds very let's say interesting. Sounds like it'll be real fun to mess with.
I hope so. Um,
And
yeah,
what's your third one that you think the community is going to look forward to the most?
um, I suppose probably fixing the Milky Way animations. Like they mostly work okay right now, but they're a bit clunky. Some definite timing issues at
For
various
INI
points.
configs. Third one for INI
Oh,
configs.
oh, oh. Let's see here. So there's one I've got on my list here, which will only allow you to use fast style if you have an actual control crystal, um, which I think makes a lot of sense.
I would
um,
agree. Like, and that's going to be a config setting that people can enable or disable, correct?
exactly.
Okay, so it's not like it's the only option there is. But as for everybody out there that is only a player on a different server and not an admin, that'll be up to your admins. So if they want to disable fast style if you don't have a control crystal, that's not on us. That's your admins. Okay. I'm gonna say that and make that clear right now. If you got a problem with that one, you gotta talk to your admins. You gotta get them to change that if you want them to change it.
Oh, I suppose another thing, real quick. I don't know if it's in the released version or not, but I have a way to make the um, the buttons on the DHD glow if they've been selected. So that'll look awesome once that's ready.
I
I look
do
forward to
think that
implementing
is
that.
currently in the live version.
Okay, cool. Because that is currently not a thing on this, and it's something I want to do.
Yeah, if I
But
remember correctly, it is currently on the live version. Because I remember
yeah,
messing with the gates just the other day.
cool. Yeah, I thought so. But when I ported everything over to, because I basically did a similar thing with the DHDs as I did for the gates, in terms of kind of combining them, all of the logic into one file
Okay.
for all of the, in this case, DHDs. And so that requires a bit more setup to get certain animations and lights and such to work.
The FUD stuff.
Fun in some ways, not so much
Sarcasm.
for me as a programmer.
Sarcasm. Do we have any other known items or structures that are planned for part 2, perhaps?
I don't know for sure about plans.
So there's a
But
few
that's
things that would be coming further out after the Gate Overhaul, even part 2.
oh yeah,
I was
there's
just
honestly a lot of
curious.
stuff that's kind of hoped for slash quasi
Planned.
planned,
Yeah.
but just
I was just
kind of taking it one step
curious.
at a
I
time.
was just trying to see if there was anything else that isn't quite ready or done yet for part 1 that is likely or going to be added for part 2, just so all our viewers and community members know what to expect.
I'm not aware of anything else, at least not off the top of my head. Like I say, I've been focusing mainly on the gates overhaul here, not much else. It's possible Drake might have some other details on that, but he's been pretty busy recently, so I kind of don't expect so.
Anything further on the gates and anything else that might be added in part 2 that we haven't covered already? Because I know most of the core stuff is being added and done in part 1. I noticed in the DHD that it's got a bunch of different slots. Is that just dev experimenting with stuff, or is that something that we might see in part 2?
Right. So this is something we've mostly just been kind of playing with a little bit. Turns out there's actually 10 of these slots that you can theoretically put stuff in. Even you can put stuff for feet on a structure apparently.
Is there any
Um,
possible way
Actually,
to maybe
for
rename
science,
them?
I'm not sure on that. I'm inclined to think not, but it's a possibility. And I have reasons for that thought, but I'm not going to go into that and bore you all with technical details.
Well, I'm going to take a pause right here and pose a question to anybody that has reached this far into the video. Go ahead and leave a comment below and let us know a couple of different ideas or things that you think this 10 slot might be useful for. No guarantees on anything being implemented, but let's hear what the community has to say about different ideas on how we may or may not use this. Since current things don't, since saddles and whatnot don't even currently go into the slots. So go ahead, community. If you've gotten this far into the video, let us know some ideas on what we might use for that. Okay. Now, anything else?
I think I'm fresh out of any other thoughts here.
Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap this up then. Okay, so everybody, I again am Raovake Gaming, the or as everybody in Exodus Games will know me as Raovake. I am the community manager of Exodus Games. I help run the Discord. I help do different videos like this. I help all the different communications with the community. You guys is my responsibility. AstroLamb here is our graphics dev. He does all the. You want to throw up a graphic? You want to show what all of this means?
Yeah. So the graphs
He does
is
all of
basically
this
code.
stuff. He does all of the code line and all of this. The reason why we say graphs is it's not like using like a text document and writing lines of code. All the code for Ark mods is done in stuff like this for the most part, so that's why we call him our grapher. So again,
Yes,
I'm
careful with words
Raovake.
like graphical.
Yeah, graphical. Well,
I don't do art stuff.
well, you know, this is still kind of graphical. It's graphical design, you know. Yeah. So again, I deal with all the community. He deals with all the graph work, all of the coding. We have a Discord server that everybody can hop in and join and chat with us. There are work in progress Google Sheets that I'm working on that has all the information for Stargate Evolution in it. Spawn codes, admin customizability, engrams, all of that stuff is inside the Google Docs. I'm still working on the roadmap one, and I'm still working on that one specifically. It needs the most work, and I'm also still working on the others as well. So this pretty much does it for our early showcase of the Gate Overhaul Part 1 and a small glimpse into Part 2. If you have any questions or comments or anything, go ahead and put them in the comments below. Or you can even hop over to our Discord server and say everything there. You can say everything there. Let us know, hey, I've got this idea. We've got channels for suggestions. We've got channels for bugs. We've got channels for all of it. And if there's a channel we don't have that we need, let me know and I'll see what I can do. Anyway, this is the Exodus Games YouTube channel with 2 of the team members. We will see you again another time in a different Q&A session, a different podcast. I do want to add one last note on this actual video itself. We were having some weird technical issues going on. We're not sure what the cause is exactly. But with running the dev kit, it sucks up a lot of resources on computers, so that could be why Discord keeps cutting in and out visually for AstroLamb's stream to see all of the content. Anyways, so I want to finish this off with, I'm going to add in a bunch of different links. I'm going to add in the config settings that are going to be in part 1 into either the description or a comment for this video. So please check all of it out and then come by and check us out. Again, I'm Raovake, and come on, Astro, don't leave me hanging.
Oh, and I'm AstroLamb.
And
Thanks for joining
we're
us.
signing off. Thanks for joining
Bye.
us.